In a scathing ruling, the Constitutional Court found former President Jacob Zuma guilty of contempt of court and sentenced him to a 15-month jail term for his failure to comply with an order of South Africa's apex court to testify before the state capture inquiry. This is a first of its kind in a democratic South Africa where a former president will be spending time in jail. He has been given 5 days to hand himself in to police. Failing that, the police minister must order his arrest. The sentence comes after the Constitutional Court found him guilty of contempt for defying its order to appear at an inquiry into corruption while he was president. In a majority judgment read by Acting Chief Justice C.C. Kampipi, the justices argued that it would defy logic to impose a suspended sentence in response to what has been a direct and calculated assault on the judiciary and SA's constitutional democracy. The former president testified only once at the inquiry into what has become known as state capture, but then refused to appear subsequently. The inquiry, headed by Justice Raymond Zondo, asked the Constitutional Court to intervene. Acting Chief Justice C.C. Kampipi was damning in her ruling. Mr. Zuma refused to come to the court to explain his actions, she said, and he elected instead to make provocative, unmeritorious and vituperative statements that constituted a calculated effort to impugn the integrity of the judiciary. The former president was not in court to hear the majority ruling and has repeatedly declared that he was the victim of a giant political conspiracy. In a separate legal matter, Mr. Zuma pleaded not guilty last month in his corruption trial involving a $5 billion, £3 billion, arms deal from the 1990s. But while there may be some protests against the court's majority decision, many more South Africans are likely to welcome the judiciary's firm stance after years in which it seemed the rule of law was being eroded by a culture of high-level impunity. The ruling will also have an impact within the governing ANC, and will strengthen the hand of President Cyril Ramaphosa while weakening those, often linked to Mr. Zuma, who have also been implicated in the vast state capture, corruption that Mr. Ramaphosa has repeatedly vowed to expose and confront. This is a developing story. Please subscribe to Africa Online 24/7 for updates.